So, good afternoon everyone. It's a pleasure to be here, and I'm really thankful for you to stay with my presentation. It's an honor to have your attention. Let me introduce myself first. My name is Antal Mor Szucs, and I'm from the bless you. I'm from the Literacyn University from Hungary, Budapest, and I'm also from the Mesezene Association as well. And my mission is to provide you a little introduction to a Hungarian motivation-based method for preforming reading. So, we wanted to do a proper preformation of reading. Therefore, we've chosen the last year of kindergarten for this method. In Hungary, the last year of kindergarten consists of 6-year-old children, and this is the year when they are before the actual learning to read process. Therefore, we created a 1-year-long system in order to preform the reading skills. And we wanted to have something which also provides a motivational system for them. So we wanted to come up with a methodology that develops metalingual abilities as well as provides motivation for the children. In order for this motivation, we've created the method called Mesezene. This is a Hungarian word, and I'm unable to translate it into any other language, so I left it the way it is. Mesezene method. We created a certain imagination land that provides the engine of this method, because it creates an emotional bridge between the children and the phonemes, and later on the letters themselves. So this is the motivational engine of the method. I'm going to explain it a little bit later, how does it work. And I'm going to focus on mostly the metalingual development of the method. But firstly, let me show you 20 seconds of the method, only 20 seconds. And we've got one question: what do they do? If you would like to, you can come up with ideas. What do they do? So you've seen 6-year-old children in kindergarten doing something. And what do they do?
Are they studying letters?
Yeah, it has something to do with letters or maybe phonemes. Yeah.
So they're breaking up words into phonemes?
Maybe they are breaking up words. Any ideas?
Phonological awareness.
Yeah, it has something to do with phonological awareness. Yeah, you are much better than you are supposed to be. I thought that you were going to say something that they are having fun, they are having a good time, or they are playing with balloons, yeah, they are laughing, but you are coming up with basically the point here. So let me explain everything in details. The method has 4 key steps, 4 main columns. The first one is the isolation of phonemes. The second one is the shaping of the phoneme-grapheme correspondence, shaping the mental representation of the phoneme-grapheme correspondence. The third one is the separation of vowels and consonants, and the last one is the preparation for reading syllables. Let me get into the details. The first one, as I said, 2 seconds before is the phoneme isolation. We grab the isolated forms of phonemes from the speech flow. That's how we shape the mental representation of these isolated phonemes. And we also develop the phonological awareness that you just mentioned before. And that helps the children to identify better the phonemes in the speech flow or in words, and it helps also them to isolate these certain phonemes from the speech flow or from certain words given. As the second step, we've got the preformation of the phoneme graphian correspondence. As we've isolated the phonemes in the first step, we can link them to visual objects, and these visual objects are not actual letters. They are something else, but not letters, definitely. They are balloons and toys. They are the characters of the imagination land that I mentioned before. How does it look like? How does it work? Let me explain it to you. You see balloons on this slide. They live together happily in a flat where only balloons live. They live together happily, but soon they feel really bored, so they decide to discover the world. So every now and then, one of the balloons fly into the world to discover something, to take a journey. And today, orange balloon flies away for a short journey. Let me tell you the story that happens to orange balloon. Orange balloon flies into a flat where Madame Martha lives. Madame Martha is an old, silly, but really kind lady. She has silly things around the house. She kept her glasses in the refrigerator, for example. She planted lollipops around the house in the garden, and she has cactuses around the table, waiting the very people to have a rest on them. These are surrealistic nonsense things that Orange Balloon witnessed here. So Orange Balloon starts to feel happy, overwhelmingly happy, and bursts into laughter that sounds like E. And from this particular point, Orange Balloon will represent the phoneme E in our context, in this methodology. And every balloon has a similar kind of really simple story, and every balloon experiences something in the real world and gets touched by certain emotions such as anger or curiosity or fear. Right here, a red balloon flies into a chamber where red balloon witnesses frightening things and pronounces the phoneme ooh, which is a really spooky sound. That's why red balloon represents fright and the phoneme ooh. So in this complex association, every balloon has a certain color, such as the orange. Every balloon has an emotion in connection, such as happiness and laughter. Every balloon has facial expressions. Of course, they have a lip position. And lastly, but most importantly, every balloon is connected with a vowel from the Hungarian set of vowels. In this instance, this is the E. We can step forward to the third column that we have, which is the separation of vowels and consonants. Every single differently sounding vowel has a certain balloon to represent, and every consonant is linked to a toy. The toys are all also parts of imagination land, but they are a different population, and that's how we easily create a difference between these two phonetic categories. So it will be really easy for the children to make a difference between a vowel and the consonant because they belong to a different kind of population in imagination land. All of these toys who live in a toy shop has their own stories, but I won't get into these details. Let me sum up the first 3 steps. We created isolated phonemes. After that, we've linked them to visual objects, which are not actual graphemes, evidently. And we separated these 2 phonetic categories, the vowels and the consonants. And here comes the 4th step, at least, but most importantly, this method provides the possibility to prepare the children for reading syllables. Reading syllables is pretty difficult, as you might know, because you need to perceive items, by items I mean letters, as units. So you need to pronounce them in co-articulation. You need to perceive at least 2 letters as units. You need to decode them and you need to pronounce them in co-articulation. And this co-articulation is working back and forth. So every letter, every phoneme has an effect on the surrounding one. That's why reading syllables are really difficult mental work for children at this tender age. And the method we have provides the possibility to pre-shape this mental work basically with this possibility. Because when these 2 populations get together, they basically represent a syllable together. So here we have a train. The train has a certain phoneme, which is in Hungarian sh. And when the train feels happy, pronounces the syllable ish. That's how children can be trained for perceiving items as units and pronounce them in co-articulation. One short sentence about the Hungarian orthography. The Hungarian language has a shallow or transparent orthography, and this method works easily with every language that has transparent or shallow orthography. Let me tell you a few things about the impacts of this method, the impacts on children. As I mentioned before, we wanted to motivate children, we wanted to create an emotional bridge, and we hope that it is a successful try because it works, it makes creative energies from children. They come up with their own stories. So the imagination land that builds up from the stories that I previously mentioned, they force basically children to make their own stories with these characters, and the children also come up with new games with these characters, and they also do musical activities. All of these 3 dimensions are in the method, but children come up with their own versions of it. It was a surprising fact that we discovered during the practice that some of the children told us they also dreamed about these characters. So you might imagine how efficient it could be, or how emotionally children how affected by these characters emotionally if they are also dreaming about them. And some of the children told us that their first friends in elementary school were these characters, because this story that we have goes to elementary school as well, because we have an extended version of it that extends to the 1st grade of elementary school. Okay. We've also asked children a few questions about these characters. We've made pairs. On the right side, you can see the imagination land characters, and on the left side, you can see their counterparts from the cartoon movie star world, such as Winnie the Pooh, or Thomas the Tank Engine, or Lightning McQueen, or Luke Skywalker from the Star Wars. And we asked them, who would you choose as a friend? And in every instance, except one, All characters were more lovable according to the children, but Winnie the Pooh was as lovable as all characters. We also asked children, which is better, which one would you prefer? A, selection A, you can watch your favorite cartoon right now, or B, you can hear a story, listen to a story from your teacher with your mates. And you won't believe that 79% of the children prefer the stories, which is a good compliment for the method, but means a little bit more than that, because children told us an important message, which is the digital world and the television is not as important for them as we think it is, because if they have a choice, they would prefer to be with the mates, to be with their partners, to play games with them, to learn something from their teacher. So this is not just a compliment for the method, this is the compliment for education and being together with our friends. We've also done pilot studies about the metalingual effects of this method. We measured in this pilot study first graders because we wanted to provide them a metalingual development that has an effect on graphing phoneme correspondence and decoding syllables. Therefore, we've chosen a focus group and a control group, and the only known difference was the Mesezene program in the focus group. And our main question was the efficiency on shaping the graphing phoneme correspondence and the decoding syllables. We've given the children letters and syllables basically to read, and we've measured time and mistakes. The results, according to the time, the focus group read basically every single task approximately 2 times faster than the control group. According to the mistakes, the control group made 2 or 4 mistakes on average in every reading task, while the focus group had only 1 mistake or 0 mistakes on average. We've also done another study questioning the phonological awareness development of this project. We wanted to know how efficiently they identify on phonemic level, and we wanted to know how efficiently they manipulate on phonemic level. Therefore, we had a focus group and a control group. They had the same age on average, both groups, and we collected input and output data as well, with the same factors. And our main question was the identification and manipulation on phonemic level. According to our results, the focus group produced better in identifying vowels and consonants as well, but there was significant difference only in identification of consonants. They identified vowels better as well, but the difference was not significant. According to the manipulation, it was significant, the difference I mean, and it was in correspondence with the similar results done by Kara in 2016. So they've done this manipulation and identification tasks significantly better in our studies. To sum up the method, we create an imaginative world that provides an emotional engine for our work. Within this context, we develop phonological awareness, and we enhance reading skills with this method. I would like to mention two important names, two honorable mentions, Krisztina Sándor and Ágnes Várnyi. We are the developers of the method, and we are the founders of the Mesezene Association, and I presented them as well. And as a final chord, I would like to show you a short time lapse how this method works. You won't hear anything from the session, but it shows you how does it work, maybe, or you get a little bit of the feeling of it. So as you can see, there's a lot of movement, games, and hopefully they enjoy themselves at least. Some of the bibliography that we have, and I would like to say a big thank for you and for your kind attention. If you have any questions, feel free to ask right here or via email.
What did the control group do?
Nothing.
As it was just kind of business as usual.
Yeah, exactly.
So the children don't necessarily learn phonological awareness.
No, we wanted to measure the effects of the method. So the control group did not receive any particular development. That's how they can work as a control group, I guess.
Do you still practice this method?
Me personally? Or
No. In teachers?
yes, of course. We have a teacher's preparation for this program done, organized in every August, at the end of the August. Yeah. Approximately, we train in every year 30 or 40 teachers to do this method, and approximately we do this for 8 years now, and hundreds of teachers practice this method, and thousands of children have received this in Hungary, within the borders. But now we are going to start a new project with many European countries to find a possible way to adapt it to different languages which has also transparent orthography. And if you would like to join this group, feel free to contact me. And if you have any more questions.
Yeah. Do you have identified children with dyslexia early
For an early intervention? Yeah, that's, we did not measure that, but it's a good dimension.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something you could research further.
Yeah. That's a good future plan. Thank you.
Do teacher education institutions not teach this kind of thing? Or is it not a compulsory part of literacy preparation?
Not exactly. Apart from the fact that I teach at the Acknowledgements University, and in certain courses I speak about this method, of course. That's how.
But it's not part of the policy.
No, definitely no. This comes from underground. Yeah. This is an underground movement. Okay. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you.